were black people who had black platforms who didn't understand that you have to cultivate the next generation with your platform. It's stupid to me to build something, and then when you retire, it goes away.
Yeah.
And so all that infrastructure, all of that stuff that came with it, and so so it was all intentional from day one, and it still is.
I love it.
I think, Ro, you are so crucial to the community. You're integral. And it was interesting because in our survey, Roland Martin also came up a lot. And I think we shared the biggest audience with you. And when people stop me, I think they all think we live in like one big dorm.
Right,
people are always
like it's a Big Brother house. It's a
Yeah.
Big Brother black media house.
all the time.
We need that, though. That would be dope.
Yeah,
actually.
exactly.
Yeah.
But the first time I saw you host was Roland Martin's show. I remember you had all the members of Congress on there. The first show I did was yours. I used to do Fox News.
The first,
but
the
then
first
I did,
show that Laura Coates hosted was mine.
Yeah.
Really?
The first
I didn't
time
know
Nia
that.
Malika Henderson did TV was mine.
Wow.
The first time April Ryan got paid as a contributor was mine.
Oh,
Wow.
I love that.
Sure,
Well, I didn't get paid.
I didn't get
Well-
no money neither, bro. Oh, you
No,
can
that was them. I didn't control it.
Yeah.
But even conservatives, Gianna Caldwell, Mychael Singleton,
Mychael, yeah.
even Paris
So
Lenard.
we have you to thank for that. We got you to thank for
Armstrong
that.
Williams.
Yeah.
Armstrong Williams.
So
on
you're talking about, so again, but it's intentional because I saw how white producers and
Yeah.
white bookers know we don't know them. And I'm like, okay, but they're great. And I remember when Tiffany Lofton, came on the show, and then she did the AFL-CIO, and they came to her, and she told my people, don't tell Roland. So they literally said, oh no, we're gonna send someone else, not you. And then my producer told me, I said, what did they say? I said, I need you to explain to them, I didn't invite them.
Yeah.
I invited you. They don't get to pick
Yeah.
who comes on my show.
Yeah.
And I had to check them, and I was like, no, I picked you, not them, and let them know that. And so, again, I see how the game is played.
Yeah.
And there's so many people, all they want is a shot. What did James Brown say? He said, don't hand me nothing, just open the door, I'll get it myself. I believe you have to open the door, you got to kick it open, and you give folks a shot. And there's some people I put on, gave them a shot, they sucked.
Yeah.
You know, it was like,
Absolutely.
say, bro, this ain't what you do. But other people, I've worked with them, like, hey, work on this, work on that. And again, I don't even, if somebody goes and does another show, I'm fine. If they leave, people who work for me, I'm like, no, you should leave. But we have to create opportunities for more people. And I just think that there are too many black folks who like being the only one.
Yeah,
Who
absolutely.
like being the center of attention. And I'm like, nah, I want there to be 30, 50, 100, 200. And the people who I help, I want them to do the exact same thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
To bring on, do the same thing, because that's how we now build scale.
Well, we
know,
thank you.
I appreciate it.
I want to ask you this too. The second part of this week's theme has been power, policy, and progress. Where do you grade us right now, Ro? And I'm talking about us is not everybody because they not like us, but like as the black community, where do you grade us right now?
Right now, our people literally, you said it, pissed off, in shock. A lot of our folks are still there. So folk were tripping. So 2 days after the election, I'd already processed it and moved on. And they were like, what are you doing? I said, the election's over. I have to focus on the next election. And then the next election. And I could not allow myself to allow the rage. But so what's happening is our people are frustrated, but they're frustrated because, and I literally hear this everywhere I go in this country, and I am always on the road, they are begging for leadership.
Yeah.
They're like, who is
Who's on
drafting
deck?
the plan?
Yeah.
Who is telling us? They're like, we want to do something, but they don't know what to do. And I have no problem saying it. Our civil rights organizations are frozen. Our business groups are frozen. People are afraid of retribution. They're afraid of being attacked. They don't know where to go. And what I've said to the groups that don't get lots of attention, this is your moment.
Yeah.
This is your moment. And what we keep trying to have is we keep trying to have the macro conversations versus the micro conversations. My whole deal is, as an election in Virginia, if the Dems keep the House, Don Scott remains Speaker of the House. If they control the Senate, that black woman, Louise Lucas, controls all the money. If Spanberger, who needs to do more black media interviews, becomes governor, they now will be able to pass a bill in January to put on the ballot to restore voting rights without the governor's permission, because you have to do it in 2 consecutive years.
Yeah.
So that's the impact. New Jersey go to an election.
Yeah.
I made it clear, Mikey Sherrill, you need to start talking to black people because the poll is tied. Same thing. Next year, now we're talking about not just midterms, city elections. There's a mayoral election in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Okay? Black folks didn't turn out in Baton Rouge. The sister lost. Some of us, the black elected officials, didn't support the sister in Mobile. She just lost by 1,400 votes on Tuesday. So our people are waiting for somebody to say, this is where we're about to go. I have told the alphas, I said to the preachers in Nan,
Are you an
y'all
alpha?
should be life member, baby. I said, we've got to be locked and loaded on North Carolina for next year. I said, but not Western North Carolina, in the Black Belt, East North Carolina.
Yeah.
I said, so mobilize our people. Same in Georgia. Reverend Bishop Barber sent me a text, said 600,000 blacks in North Carolina did not vote in November. 1 million in Georgia. So they are waiting for somebody to say, to issue, in essence, the Nehemiah clarion call, this is how we're going to rebuild this wall.
Yeah.
And then here's the piece that everybody forgets. The other piece said, the people said, let us rebuild, but they're waiting for somebody to say, here's where we're going.
Roland, I got a quick follow-up. You mentioned that civil rights organizations are frozen. And if I were on the listening end of that, as I am, but if I were at home listening to that, I would wonder, why would organizations that are, speaking of the theme made for this moment, organizations that were literally thought of, they were born out of a resistance to whatever the status quo was at the time, how could we look on them right now as being frozen in a moment with an administration that never respected them, that never gave us the time of day, and are now actively going after us in assault?
Frozen because there's a generational shift happening. And I'm going to say this here, and Angela understands what I'm about to say. And those of us who understand, there were a group of people. They were the ones who sustained us from King's assassination to present day.
Yeah.
They were the ones who knew who didn't vote. They did precinct walks. They showed up at city council, county government, state government. Guess my parents, 78, just like Eddie Rye, Angela. But guess what? Those people are retiring, or in many cases they passed away. So there's a generation that did not replace those people.
Yeah.
So what we've done is we've become so technical where we think that social media, text messaging, and phone calls replaces that on-the-ground infrastructure, and that's what's missing. If you go to places all around the country, that group, dude, Gen X did not step up. So we have to replace that massive black infrastructure. If you look at NAACP chapters, it was a 60, 65, 70-year-old sister or brother who were doing the work. They're now retired or they passed away. So now who replaces them? So we have to replace that infrastructure. So that's what I mean by frozen. So now it's like who's next? Who's batter up? And that to me is the problem. So now, that's what I keep saying, micro versus macro. We got to go back to micro. So if I say you can't change nation without states, states without cities, or counties, counties, cities, cities, neighborhoods, neighborhoods, blocks, streets, streets, houses, house, person in the house. That has to be our mentality. And our people they are crying out, who is going to issue the clarion call?
Well, just in time, if y'all know Roland, you know that he is big on Texas. He is very serious about Texas.
Born and raised.
We have been joined by a very mighty Texan, someone who is a people's champ, a
She's
hero.
quiet, she's meek, she's an introvert.
Oh, I'm gonna let Roland introduce this Texan. Go ahead, Ro. Go ahead, Ro.
He lying.
She's quiet, she's meek, she's an introvert. She went to this little school called the University of Houston, right behind Jack Yates High School, across from Texas Southern University. Was an international track star. Goes on to run for office. Child, she been everything. She been on the school board. She been on the city council. Now she's in the state legislature, and now she's running for Congress. So
Somebody
she
said
done it all.
reality TV a little bit?
All that reality TV.
I did.
She's an AKA State Representative Jolanda Jones.
Welcome
Well,
home.
hello, people.
Did I miss anything?
No, Roland, because you from 3rd Ward. You went to school in 3rd Ward. You did a good job.
Very good.
Jack Yates graduate, baby.
Absolutely. I represented JY.
Tilt your mic up just a little
Okay.
bit. There you go.
I represented JY. Still represent JY. And when I win for Texas 18, I'm going to represent JY.
Nice, nice.
Love it.
That's why
Welcome
I got
home.
this
Thanks
lion
for
on his
joining.
shirt.
Oh,
I see you. I see you. You king. You're a king.
Thank you for joining us. Welcome
Absolutely.
home once again, because we had you on the show before, but welcome back. Welcome
Thank
home
you for
again.
having me. I appreciate that.
There's a lot happening in Texas, as we well know, but I think for people who may not be from Texas, for years now, we have been promised, titillated, and teased that Texas will eventually be a purple state. I'm curious what you predict for the future of Texas politics.
I predict a number of things. I predict we racist, anti-black in Texas, anti-immigrant in Texas, anti-anything that's not a rich billionaire white man in Texas. I predict that. I predict that unless and until the National Democratic Party invests in Texas, it doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell of being purple.
Right.
That's what I predict. I predict that Democrats take us for granted, and they just think black folks gonna vote for Democrats as if we ain't sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. So I predict that if the Democratic Party doesn't specifically invest in black people, black political consultants, black media, black church, that the Democrats will not have black people, and that I don't believe we'll go vote for Republicans, but we will just stay home.
For people who don't understand infrastructure, Texas has more eligible black voters than any state in America.
For sure we do.
When you talk about a party infrastructure, there are 254 counties in Texas.
Yes.
Massive state. There are only 81 county Democratic parties. So that's only 1/3 of the state. When Beto O'Rourke ran, he visited all counties, but that was a campaign. When Obama and Clinton ran in 2008, that was massive energy because folks were on fire. And folks said, finally they're gonna organize Texas. What happened? Obama wins. They only came to Texas to raise money. He went to Dallas, Houston, Austin, picked up checks, and left. So they've never funded the state. There are 2 million eligible Latinos who are eligible but not registered. 61% of Texas is minority. 61% of Texans who vote are white.
Wow.
You sure right. But I mean, if government was doing stuff for me, I'd probably vote too. And
That's
so,
right. That's right.
I mean, it just makes, and it just seems to me that the people who need government the most are engaged the least.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's because we as a party haven't figured out how to connect the dots for people.
When Beto ran against Greg Abbott, 75% of voters 30 and under did not vote.
But you got to speak to our issues, Roland.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, you gotta speak to our
I'm
issues.
just giving the
So,
data so folks understand that
Right.
they're
Yeah.
there, but you got to talk to them.
But you
And
got to
that's
connect
it.
the dots
Yeah.
for them, right? So if I'm struggling, right, and I see, what's the lady's name, Wendy Davis?
Yes.
She stood in some pink tennis shoes and
Against the abortion bill,
Right.
Yeah.
got
Right.
lots of attention, lots of
But-
money, and got crushed.
But what we knew as black people, what I knew as a black person is, you'll stand for all them hours for abortion, but you won't stand for all them hours for criminal justice reform.
Right.
right.
Yeah.
Right? You won't stand for all them hours to make sure that we have affordable health care, or that we have affordable housing, or that you're not standing to stop the police from killing us with impunity. So we know what you're willing to do
Yeah.
when you believe in something.
Yeah.
Right.
We see that the Democratic Party is afraid to say racist. When we were out on the corn break,
My God.
the conversation, we talked about this, Angela, we talked about this, Roland, was that Donald Trump wanted to steal 5 seats. Now it was racist. That's why I had that viral moment. Because the right answer was they didn't identify 4 black seats. They messing with the CBC. They're trying to undermine the CBC's power because they're the most senior caucus.
Yeah.
But they have the people that are speaking about the corn break don't look like us when they literally have moved Jasmine out of her district. They've taken VC's core constituency, Tarrant County, moved it. They've literally collapsed CD18 and CD9, and ain't nobody saying it's racist.
And when I talked to Tarrant County Commissioner Lisa Simmons, they gerrymandered her district.
Yes.
They had a huge rally in Tarrant County. The lawyers said, when you go to the mic, call it racial gerrymandering.
Yes.
Every speaker who went up there who wasn't black didn't say racial gerrymandering. And the lawyer said you have to use that language because partisan gerrymandering has been allowed by the Supreme Court. Racial gerrymandering is not allowed. They literally, until she went up, they wouldn't even say it.
But you know, Roland, I'm a lawyer. For 30 years, I'm a trial lawyer. Let me tell you what I would do to all the people that went up and refused to say racial gerrymandering. When it goes to court, they're going to call witnesses.
Yep.
And the first person I'm going to call as a witness, if I'm them, is the person that said it was political gerrymandering.
Right, right.
And I'm going to say, is it racist? And they're going to say no. Or even if they say yes, I'm saying,
They're going to
that's
pull
not what
that
you
tape.
said.
They're going to pull that
That's not
tape.
what you said.
They're going to internet tape in the
Right,
evidence.
and they're going to say, so now you're saying it's racial now, because are you lying then? Or are you lying then? Or
There
you
you
lying
go.
now?
Yeah. Let me
So
tell
my
you-
point is, what we need, like most importantly in the Democratic Party, is we need white people, our allies, those who lack melanin, to actually be courageous enough to say racist.
Okay,
Right.
wait a minute. Now, I've been ping-ponging my head back and forth between two Texans. We have a legend that just walked up to the set. AJ, just come say hi really quick. We got AJ Calloway from 106.
Oh, I thought the woman
BCF.
he was with was a legend.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, she
Oh,
can be a legend too.
I
yes.
wasn't even
Mama
thinking she
AJ.
was talking about him.
Yes,
She is a
indeed.
legend.
That's
my mama. She is a legend.
Yeah,
Mr.
your
Martin.
mama a legend. I know. I thought
is.
she was coming up.
We just
Former
wanted you
principal.
to come say hi on the set. You over here waving. We're not going to let a hero walk by without a hero's welcome.
How you doing?
We're doing
I
well.
just
wanna-
We're getting schooled by two Texans. We were
Yeah.
just doing like this
Ping
here,
pong.
back and forth.
106
So
in
you want to
DC.
take your hat off to me. I want to take my hat off to y'all because honestly, we need honest reporting in a time like this, in a day like this. I gave Roland his flowers last night at an event, and I'm giving them to you.
He said,
as
"And
well.
an event. We were at the park last night."
Hey, look here. Hey,
We was at the
Mr. Martin.
club.
I'm
But,
trying to.
but we
I
do
mean,
got we do got to talk to the folk at the club because Dr. King went to pool halls too.
Exactly.
was at
You
the
have to go and talk to the
I'm
people.
let y'all have that, but that y'all was not doing Dr. King's work.
Yes,
at the
we
park.
Yes,
were.
we were.
Yes, we
What
were.
was y'all doing at the
We
park?
we were registering voters.
Exactly.
Let me see proof.
We were talking policy.
We
Let
were
me
talking
see.
about
I
freeing
mean-
DC.
Okay,
We talked about
all right.
freeing DC.
Yes.
We talked about
Tip,
giving
that
money.
passed the smell
That
test for you?
passes, that
Okay.
passes.
Yes.
Giving
We gonna let
money.
that-
People were handing me donations.
That's right.
So look, we
Well,
were
That's
working.
how-
because
that's
you
how
was-
Roland got
wait
that
a minute.
outfit today
No,
from the
Let me tell
donations.
You know why he got donations? I heard you was twerking at the club yesterday, right?
That ain't nothing new.
Lord have mercy.
Back to the CBC.
Yes.
Lord have mercy.
AJ, I'm so happy you joined us because you are a legend for so many young
Yes.
people who grew up watching 106 in Park.
That was us.
Well,
That was us.
for us older people and younger people, we also lost another legend this year in Ananda Lewis, who a lot of us grew up watching in Teen Summit. I was so disappointed that she was not honored at the award show, so we certainly want to take our time to honor her here.
Thank you, too.
But
Absolutely.
because you sat at that intersection of entertainment and information, I'm curious what you make of the landscape now because it's been so democratized. People are getting information off social media. What would you advise for younger people? Like, how can they get proper information and be aware? and
Watch
concerned?
Roland Martin Unfiltered. No, honestly, so two things. First, I just want to acknowledge what you said because Ananda was one of my first friends at Howard University. We lost the legend.
Yeah.
So, moment out for Ananda Lewis. I'm glad you said that. But honestly, there's so much misinformation. There's so much nonsense that's out there. Everybody with a microphone does not deserve to be amplified.
Right.
Say it again. Say it one more time.
Everyone with a microphone does not deserve to be amplified. Everybody with a camera phone, everybody with a podcast, everybody that's on a show does not deserve to be amplified.
Hey,
Make sure
AJ, I don't want to interrupt you, but I
Go
have
ahead.
to. That
Go.
brother right there is running for
Aaron
governor
Ford.
of Nevada, Aaron Ford.
Aaron Ford.
We went to Texas A&M together. He's a Kappa, AJ. He's a Kappa.
It's all right.
But it's all
Aaron,
good.
come
but
say hi,
but
Aaron.
he's running for governor of Nevada.
Yeah.
That
I'm
is
gonna
a
give him my microphone.
Nevada, baby,
honey,
Nevada.
it's
It's
Nevada.
N-E-V-A-D-A.
He's the alpha. You help him.
He's a
N-E-V-A-D-A.
Kappa. He's a member of Kappa Alpha
I'ma spell it.
Psi, and he is.
I'm throwing them dubs up. Get
Yes,
it right. It's a long
he's
A.
the former
Aaron
attorney.
Ford. No.
attorney-
He's the current attorney general.
The current attorney general.
What's up,
running-
baby?
Don't
And-
walk in front of the camera, Aaron. Go sit. You're in front of
So,
the camera.
so,
You take
so
this
we
seat
went.
right
To,
here.
we were at Texas A&M together. He's also a Texan. But again, running for governor
Thank you, AJ.
of that crucial state.
Aaron, it's so good to see you.
It's so great to
and
be
we're
here.
so
Thank you.
excited that you're running for governor in a swing state at that. You and I have traveled together overseas, but been friends a long time, so really happy to have you join the show. Welcome home.
Well, thank you so very much. And let me thank Roland, my classmate, my good buddy. He's an alpha, but we get along very well. Thank you so much, sir, for calling my name out. And Tiffany, so great to see you. We did travel. It's been over a decade now, and I'm delighted to be here on the show. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, I want to know from you all. I asked the host when we came on. Roland is. I'm doing a Papa Ride thing today. We got an honorary guest host that when he gonna stay as long as he wants.
Yes.
But I will say to you all, Jolanda and Aaron, this conference made for this moment. I would love for you all to say made for this moment because before you depart today.
You go first.
Well, you know, look, I love the theme. And the fact of the matter is, made for the moment is very fitting.
Yeah.
I'm the first African American to be elected statewide to a constitutional office in Nevada. And this moment, I don't think it's just this moment. It's been the entirety, frankly, of my tenure as Attorney General, whether it was George Floyd, and me being the top law enforcement officer in the state, being able to speak truth to power from my position of power about what our relationship was with law enforcement. I said it point blank. I'm a black man married to a black woman, raising 3 black sons and a black nephew, and I'm going to speak truth on this issue. And I think that moment was entirely designed for me to be in this particular position. And right now, as we have to define and protect our constitutional rights from an onslaught of unlawful activities, it takes people who are willing to stand up and speak truth to power right now. And I'm happy to be in this position for this particular moment that I'm made for.
Aaron, get a website. Get a website.
Oh, the website. Thank you, sir. forwardfornevada.com. Listen, I'm the first black person to be AG for Nevada, but I'm going to also be the first black person to be governor of Nevada. Right. And that website is forwardfornevada.com. I appreciate you letting me come on, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.
For me, made for this moment is important because those of us who are on the front lines, this is hard work.
Yeah, it is.
Right? This is hard work. We are made for this moment because we have got to remind people that this is history repeating itself.
It is.
We've got to remind people that we got hosed, we got lynched, people getting lynched again.
Yeah.
We got to remind people that we used to didn't have voting rights and they're trying to take us back. We got to remind people that there was Jim Crow. We got to remind people of that at this moment in time. And for me, being here in this space, I need rejuvenation.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult when you're home and people, young people especially, don't understand how bad it can be. So I need people who are reinforcing me because I got to go back to Texas.
Right.
I got to go back to Texas. And so we are made for this moment, for those of us that are, again, on the front lines, to be reinforced and reminded why we have to do this work and who we can lean on when this starts getting weak.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm running for Congress, Texas 18, the seat that Barbara Jordan, Mickey Leland, Craig Washington, Sheila Jackson Lee, and Sylvester Turner were in. And we need somebody who's unafraid. I was the first black openly LGBTQ plus person in the Texas legislature, House or Senate. And when I win on November 4th, I will be the first black LGBTQ plus woman in the U.S. House of Representatives. And so I just need reinforcement.
Yeah.
And we came back, we stay gone as long as I wanted. And I need to be around people who I know would have stayed gone longer. And so I too will give a website.
Real quick.
JolandaJones.com. Let me tell you how to spell Jolanda. It's a made-up black name. My mother like Yolanda. My daddy's name was John. She wanted me to have his initials, take away the Y and add a J. Jolanda jones.com, because we need people who are unafraid and unapologetically black, and that's who we all are. That's who we all are.
Real quick, Yolanda, Aaron, please tell specifically AKAs and Kappas why they've got to get out of our insular business and active in driving folk to the polls locally. Yes, I said it, so make the call for what they need to do, these D9 folk.
No, absolutely. There's no way we can do this, as you've indicated, as insular individuals and insular entities. What I'm proud of, Roland, to your point, is I was invited to the Alpha PAC event. Wow. I'm a sweet newt. I'm pretty. But they let me come to the Alpha.
But you need that Alpha money. But go ahead.
And I'm sure we'll take it as well. And so we have to come together as organizations to pursue these goals and to assist us in getting there. And I'm grateful for the support that I'm getting across the board.
We so appreciate you.
And I am an Alpha Kappa Alpha woman.
So is my wife. She's so pretty.
Fall 1987. And we were the first black sorority. And we need to be the first getting people to the polls. Because if the world is run by those who show up, we need to show up. So I am encouraging all of my sorority sisters specifically, and the D9 generally, that we are the infrastructure in this country. We give scholarships. We all believe in service to mankind and womankind. So we need to do that. As Alpha Kappa Alpha women, we need to be more than pretty. We need to be soldiers in the cause.
I hear you.
And Prince Hall Mason, and Eastern Star, and Links. We have massive black infrastructure that's not being fully maximized. And Dr. King said that in his book, Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community?
And we have money.
Right, but the point is, too many of us are risk averse. We think it's going to jeopardize our letters. No, we have the infrastructure. We're international, national, regional, state, undergrad, grad. We go all the way down from K. So I just think that we're not maximizing our infrastructure.
Preach, you right.
I love y'all, and we're going to carry
Thank
this
you.
town hall, this Greek town hall y'all doing later. But Aaron and Jolanda and Roland.
Like Aaron.
I said Aaron. I didn't
It's
say
Aaron.
Aaron.
Apron with no
I'm
P.
sorry. I'm
Aaron.
black from the West Coast. That's how I come out
with no
sometimes. I'm so sorry. Aaron.
Aaron.
Aaron. Jolanda
Jolanda
and
with no
Roland. We are so grateful for y'all.
Thank
Thank
y'all
you
for
so
having
much
us.
for being here. I want to just acknowledge someone whose legacy this live podcast is. And that is Congresswoman Joyce Beatty. She's going to come join us later, but she's standing right here, so let's give it up
We
for
see
Ms.
her right
Beatty.
here.
Beautiful.
The international
Beautiful.
president of the AKs is right over there.
Oh, yes.
Jeanette.
Hello.
I saw the Zeta president.
Reed?
I
So,
know. We
folks-
miss Stacey
Madam
Grant.
President.
Yeah.
The D9
Yes.
is in the house.
D9
So I got
is
to
deep
go.
in the house.
I'll
Thank
see
you.
y'all
You're
later.
leaving,
I
Ro?
appreciate it.
You're leaving us?
I got to go do some
Well,
work.
you can come back if you
Come
want,
back,
bro. You're
bro.
always
Come
welcome.
back.
Joining
All right.
us
Holla.
now is my good friend Todd Cox, who is making things happen at the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. We just had a conversation on redistricting. Of course, the NAACP LDF will be arguing a case before the Supreme Court on Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. What's hanging in the balance is very, very serious, and they will determine whether or not the Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act is unconstitutional or not. We also have our good friend, Elizabeth Booker Houston, who's joining us. Y'all know her as Booker Squared.
Booker
Yes.
Squared.
All that content going viral. She tells it like it is. Her daddy said he don't mind her cussing. My daddy does, but they love that's the way she tells the truth.
Okay,
So-
but can I tell you,
Yes.
I got to ask Jasmine Crockett's daddy yesterday if he minded her cussing, and he kind of gave the same kind of answer my daddy did of like,
Oh, okay.
I don't really like
Well,
it, but
have
it's
your
necessary.
daddies talk to my daddy so I can get a blessing, okay?
Can I jump in and ask a question? Because when you were making the introduction, I was curious for our audience and even for myself, what exactly is Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act?
Yes.
And why is it so important?
Well, Section 2 of the voting. First of all, let me just say thank you so much for. Yeah.
Let's get your mic down.
No? Oh, it's not on?
Yeah, just push it down.
Just
Push
gotta
it
just-
down.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Just talk right into it.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Great. Thank
Get
you.
real close.
Or lift it up just a little bit. Lift
Okay.
it back up. There you go.
All
That
right.
should be perfect.
Good?
Perfect.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for that question, and thanks for the opportunity to join you all. Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act is a key part of the Voting Rights Act, which, by the way, is only 60 years old. It's a Gen X statute. It's a young statute. Section 2 is the bulwark that really protects voters, black voters, voters of color, from having their votes diluted. It says basically that you can't create a plan, a redistricting plan, or any kind of voting change that would take away, dilute, diminish the voting rights of those voters. And as Angela mentioned, Section 2 is at stake right now. Mm-hmm. From the very beginning, Section 2 has been threatened by courts. We've been fighting to keep Section 2 seen as constitutional. We have won under Section 2 cases very recently. And now, as Angela mentioned, a case called Louisiana versus Calais, we're going to be arguing for the constitutionality of a plan that was drawn to make sure that voters had the right to elect their candidates of choice under Section 2, but now also the state is arguing that Section 2 is unconstitutional. And we're doing all we can to make sure that they lose that argument.
Yes.
Do we know when that case will be before the Supreme Court?
We certainly do. It's going to be argued October 15th, and we would love for everyone to come out, be on the steps of the Supreme Court to support us. We know we need folks on the ground, folks in the real world, not just in court, making sure we protect our voting rights.
And then what are the consequences if Section 2 were to go down? Especially as we're looking at redistricting, racist-based redistricting happening in red states around the country.
Right. Well,
what are the implications?
The implications are democracy itself, I dare say. If Section 2 did not exist, it would not protect the rights of voters who are currently being threatened by this off-cycle redistricting, right? We see in several states black elected officials who are the candidates of choice of voters in those states being targeted in a way that we haven't litigated this, may be seen as threatening the candidates of choice of black voters. Section 2 stands for the proposition that can't happen. Yeah. And if we didn't have Section 2, we would not be able to as successfully defend those districts as possible. We would still have tools, don't get me wrong, we still have tools to do that. But Section 2 is the most effective way that we have in place right now to make that happen.
You know, I want to come to you on this point, Liz, because I think what Todd mentioned about us being on the steps of the Supreme Court is important. What we know in this day and age especially is there is a lot that is won in the court of public opinion.
That's right.
You have been outside of steps, outside of the Heritage Foundation, outside of all kinds of things with bullhorns, saying all kinds of important things, sometimes foolishness. But can you talk a little bit about why it's so important to lift up your voice at a time like this and to lean into courage when there's so much to be afraid of?
Well, I would just say it's all about pushing back on the disinformation. I'm just thinking about what I've learned this week, in particular here at CBC ALC Week, and we talked a lot about censorship. We talked a lot about suppression. I sat in on a panel that Congresswoman LaMonica McIver led, and Karen Attia was on that panel, who we know was just fired from the Washington Post. I know that April D. Ryan was on that panel, and there was a lovely woman named Gillum who I had never met before, who is a public relations specialist, and she said, there is spiritual power in telling our stories. Yeah. And that has been resonating with me all week. Wow. Because it's really important that we get out there and we are the ones making our voices heard, because they are going to talk about us whether we are out there or not. So we want to make sure that we set the record straight, and also to just inform our communities. Angela, you and I are in a very gate-kept profession. We're in a very gate-kept profession when it comes to the law. And there's not very many black lawyers. What are there? A little over 60,000 black lawyers that we have.
Isn't it like 3%?
3%, 3 to 5%, somewhere in there. And we know that the profession is gate-kept for a reason. It's so we can charge, well, I'll say white male lawyers can charge $300, $500 an hour for the information. But really, this is stuff that pertains to all of us. When you talk about Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, that pertains to all of us, and it's important to get that information out to our communities in a way that they understand. And so sometimes it is me with foolishness on the steps somewhere, because that's the way that it's going to get across. But I know that I've had very proud moments that, I'm talking foolish, but I also taught a whole bunch of people what substantive due process was on Instagram one day. And I think that's amazing. I think it's amazing that people understand how things are affecting them. And also the disinformation in particular when it comes to the Voting Rights Act. I know that I got to talk to Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett for a recording for State of the People TV, and I don't want to give away too much because I want people to go watch that episode. But we did talk about Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act and how That is about black people being able to choose who represents us. It's not about putting black people in seats, which is a common piece of disinformation used, because I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, where Congressman Steve Cohen, who is a white man, is actually in a Section 2 seat. That's what he's technically in. And it wasn't about the race of the person elected, but it was about making sure that black individuals just have the opportunity to elect the person who we feel best represents us.
I want to just pause here. I know Tiff is smart. Her brain is buzzing. She's got more questions, but we've been joined by Mayor, I call him Mayor Leo, Mayor Leonardo Williams from Durham, North Carolina. I got to meet Leo during our State of the People Power Tour, and he's been a great partner ever since. So I just wanted to welcome him to the stage. He can get into redistricting too. He knows a little bit about that in North Carolina as well.
In North Carolina.
Yes, indeed. So I want to yield to you.
Yeah, I'm sorry because I didn't know this data about black lawyers. So that was really surprising to me. And we're blessed to have so many on the panel right now. And something that I've always wondered about, and anybody who has an answer can weigh in, does it help us or hurt us by not televising Supreme Court hearings? Because when you're saying show up on the steps of the courthouse, so many people have no idea when the Supreme Court is in session. They have no idea what's before the court, and they have no idea about the back and forth. Some of the dissents from Justice Cantin Brown Jackson in the counterpoint. Andrew, you and I talked about this from Amy Coney Barrett. I mean, it was tantamount to a rap battle, like the real diss tracks coming out of the court. So I'm just curious, the thoughts from the lawyers. Should there be cameras broadcasting these proceedings?
Well, I can't speak for the Legal Defense Fund on that point, but personally, I think in this day and age, we do a disservice not to be as transparent as we can about the very processes that determine the future of our democracy. The Supreme Court is one. We televise congressional arguments, congressional hearings, C-SPAN. We don't do the same thing with courts. And increasingly, all eyes are on the courts. They are the last stand, in many ways, to push back on this overreach from this executive. And I would love for my community to be able to see the strength and power of lawyers speaking in court about what's going on in this country with our democracy. And we don't have a chance to do that very often. The other thing I'll say, we have very few black lawyers. We have very few black women lawyers having done arguments in the Supreme Court. Janae Nelson, my boss, my President and Director Counsel, she is going to be arguing the Calais case.
Yes.
It is rare to see a black woman in the Supreme Court. We're so proud of that. Yeah. But I think that's another thing that people should be aware of, and they should see visually the power of those kinds of arguments and the lack, frankly, of voice that we've given folks who represent us in this community.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I would agree with all of that. It goes back to what I just said about the profession being very gate-kept. That is the problem, and that would take away some of that gatekeeping and take away some of that illusory power that we see that comes with the profession, which again is just trying to assert dominance over the entire populace when we know again that this is something that affects everybody, that everybody should have a stake in, that everyone should have a say in, and everybody should be informed about. I will tune in to SCOTUS TV. I would love to see all of the expressions that Clarence Thomas makes whenever Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson decides to slam down with some good line here or there. I would like to see it.
Mr. Mayor, I know you joined us. I want to bring you into the conversation because a lot of big cities get a lot of attention. There's a race in New Orleans right now. We talk about Detroit and LA. But for some of our smaller towns that may not be in the headlines, why should people who don't live there care about what's going on there? And how can we support some of these smaller towns? Because it's our way of community. No matter where we are geographically, we are one in this country. So curious your thoughts there.
Yeah, the manipulation that's happening in politics right now, the size of the city doesn't matter anymore. I mean, they're starting in smaller towns. It's starting with school boards. The power should be built from the bottom up, and that's what's happening. To your point, what you were just talking about, ignorance is the greatest currency for political manipulation. And I mean, we can do FOIA requests for everything except this unterm limited body of legalese people, and it's so intimidating because we don't know. So if we don't know how, and we can't see it, how can we be a part of it, right? So back to the size of the towns and cities, it really doesn't matter. There's takeovers of, redistricting starting from those smaller areas. My city is almost 500,000 people, but I get the same representation as Wentworth, North Carolina, or somewhere else where they have maybe 2,500 people, that doesn't make any sense. But you want to make sure there's equal representation, yes. But we also want to make sure it's balanced. And we're not getting that.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. That's really helpful insight. We'll have to have you all back. This was a really fascinating conversation to me because I had no idea about black lawyers. So that's a conversation that should continue. And speaking of black lawyers, we're going to welcome yet another one, very well-known friend of the show, and that is, of course, Marilyn Mosby, former Baltimore State's attorney, joins us now, looking beautiful, deigning a beautiful black gown. And we're also going to be joined by Dr. Mychael Eric Dyson. And certainly, last but not least, Congresswoman Latifah Simon will also join us. Thank you. Please come along. Everybody, I have to say for our viewing audience who can't see, we are a beautiful people because we see the line of people coming along looking beautiful and gorgeous. Oh, well, thank you. I came here from the train station, so I'm in sneakers, so I'm hiding behind. Well, thank you. I pulled it together.
You didn't have to tell nobody. But she's been telling it all. Andrew?
Marilyn. It's good to have all of our guests. Congresswoman, Dr. Mychael Eric Dyson. Marilyn, since the last time you were with us on the show, something pretty monumental happened as it relates to your case, which Native Land Pod listeners, our family, rallied significantly, behind you on this cause. Can you let the folks know what happened in that time between now and then?
Sure can. I'm so incredibly grateful to all of you. You all advocated for me. There were over 100,000 people that signed that pardon petition. Unfortunately, the Biden administration didn't do what it needed to do, but in the end, the Court of Appeals actually reversed one of the convictions and affirmed, yes, the mortgage fraud conviction, the same sort of playbook that they used on me that they're executing perfectly on Lisa Cook and Letitia James, right? That same reversal of that conviction. However, they did affirm 2 of the perjury convictions, and mind you, these perjury convictions are based off of a vague and ambiguous statute that has never been legally defined or used against anyone in this country. And so my attorneys actually, as of 2 days ago, filed an appeal en banc in front of the Fourth Circuit, which we're asking all 15 judges to review, not only the 2 perjury convictions that the Court of Appeals affirmed.
I love it.
And I want to come to Congresswoman Simon because I begged her to stay right here for 2 seconds. I want you all to understand this woman is so powerful. Is standing on some tremendous shoulders. We know that you replaced Congresswoman Barbara Lee in Congress, who is now the mayor of Oakland, and you rep Oakland hard. You know the best coast is always winning, Latifah. But I just want you to give us a charge. We've been asking all of our guests, why are you made for this moment? And I know if there's anybody that can bring this, it's you. Let's bring this word, Latifah.
Well, first of all, Dr. Dyson, I met Dr. Dyson when my daughter was 5 years old. She's right over there. She's 29, and she's an attorney. She's an attorney because there are women like Miss Mosby who decided not
Last time I checked, God ain't resigned. If God ain't resigned, that means God is going to be here when other people are dead, gone, buried, or out of office. So we continue to fight because we have the strength of our ancestors behind us.
We love y'all.
Amazing.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the dinner. We will see y'all in there just shortly.
You look beautiful.
And at this time, we are being joined by some more living legends. Y'all hugging right in front of our camera. That is so cute. That is so sweet. But y'all got to see Black Love, Black Family, right?
Yes.
And speaking of Black Family,
I'm so excited.
We have the opportunity to be joined by some incredible
those partners, and I would imagine the same may be true in this case. As you analyze the moment that we found ourselves in, not just what would you diagnose are the things that are missing in this movement, in this space, in this counterbalancing to autocracy? What do you think is missing that you would charge your fellow Americans and Black Americans most specifically with needing to step up on if we're going to win this race?
Well, first, let me just say thank you for this platform. Thank you for everything that you all do. I love that you know, the theme of this weekend is that we are made for this moment, and that is a fact. So what I would say is for us to continue fighting. It's not what we're
democracy and how to defend democracy. I'm like, yo, most of the people I've dealt with before didn't even know who the Bible even was.
Yeah.
But like, I saw how like she thought deeply about this stuff in a way that, frankly, in many ways, I never had thought about it before. But I'm gonna tell you a quick story. I remember when I was running for governor, and I had never run for office for my life, so everything was new. All the stuff, and she was like, listen, let me tell you how this thing's gonna go down. And here's how they're gonna come at you, and here's how it is. And she was like, and at some point, when the attacks start coming this and that, she's like, it's because they're finally starting to pay attention.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I remember it was April of 2022, the election year. And out of nowhere, I'm like, I just started watching all these attacks, all these lies, all this. I'm like, yo, what is going on? And it literally just happened like over a 3-week period. It was like this onslaught.
Yeah.
And I remember getting up one morning and being like mad, just like, God, I gotta go through all this stuff again. And I was getting up and I was going to the bathroom, and I turned the corner and she was standing right there. And she put my face in her hands. And she just looked in my eyes and she said, it's because you're winning. Keep going. And at that moment when I was like, yo, why did I sign up to do this? Why did like we give up our life for this? And I looked in her eyes, and it was all the reminder that she needed. She's like, listen, we in this together, and we gonna be okay. I warned you what was gonna happen. The moment the attacks start coming, it's not because they're not thinking about you. It's because they are.
Listen, this is my last point, but I have to say this because and Donna's gonna be like, "Why are you telling family business?" But I'm about to tell family business. So y'all, this is how I want y'all to know. This is not a commercial. Yeah, this is real. Dawn is sis. This is my sister for real, and let me tell y'all why. We got in a real fight. And not like fist fight, but an argument.
No,
you know what
that's
I mean?
real.
Right? I would never swing. She would win, by the way. But like, let me tell you, Dawn rides for this man. Believes in this man. And I was like, what about that? She was like, let me tell you something. My husband, when she got to my husband the 5th time, I was like, you know what? Yo, I'm going to make sure he knows he got a rider for real.
Rider.
And I think
A
that
rider.
there's something about that is so magical. We believe in you, brother. But this sister right here, she might windmill on somebody. I love it so much because it was so clear. I was like, I love this for him, and I love it for you.
And we
so I
love
you.
you.
I'm done monopolizing
We love you.
the time.
Can I just want to
and
add.
it's real. It's real because I say like I'm telling you, you can't say nothing about this lady to me.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you, like she knows I got her front, back, whatever it is, and also I know it's the same thing for her.
Yeah.
And like this is why I mean, like listen, God is. I always say, man, it's like I get a reminder every single day that God loves me.
Yeah.
Because He placed Dawn in my life. I love that. And that's the reminder that I need that God loves me.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that.
I love that.
Because we're on this Black love theme, I mean, because I really do. Now is a moment when I say for informing and reading, it's also a time for love.
Yes.
I mean, we are going through collective trauma right now, and it feels sometimes that we're in our own silos. Young people don't know how to approach each other because they've grown up with nothing but phones and texts. People are pretending to be okay with casual and, not so serious things. And we see the power of what happens. And the very thing that helped us survive this 400-year nightmare was our love for each other, the way we would show up for each other. So for people who are younger, looking for life partners, for people who are just navigating this space, I'm curious what advice you guys might offer at a time hearts impact our lives. What should we consider navigating this jungle out there?
I would say this. When I fell in love with Wes, I fell in love with a whole person. I didn't fall in love with someone that needed to be fixed, someone who needed me to be his mother. And that's it. And we worked. It's not to say that we never ever question, are we going to do this for life in the beginning? Of course, we had all those honest conversations. But when it came down to it, we valued family. We wanted the same things. We wanted to serve. We both had a deep belief in our faith and in God. And that was enough. And so it was a blessing. It was a blessing. But we put the work in, and we stayed true to what was important to us.
I bet y'all did not become governor and first lady thinking you would be interviewed on marriage, life, love, partnership. But, so a good deviation probably from the norm or rigor of interviews that you get. But I do want to just connect one other thing before we let you all go, and that is, as the only sitting black governor in the United States right now, and we know that many have tried, and there are many more who are attempting that feat right now in this cycle. A state that has pretty prosperous African Americans, but also you've got the reflection of our community from the highest earners to the lowest earners, yet hardest workers. Yeah. How do you all balance your leadership for this state where you have a diverse state without a doubt, but the expectations of our people, which have to be even more greatly animated, that they see themselves reflected in their governor and first lady. How do you tend to those needs, give them the proper attention, while at the same time sort of fighting off this expectation that you're only serving your people and not the rest of folks, or the impression that you're only serving everybody else and you're taking us for granted? How do you balance that in?
You know, and first I'll say that that I am the only black governor in the country right now, and that's not a title that I want to hold on to for very long.
Yeah.
We've got to make sure we are getting more black chief executives in the United States of America, because you just realize lens. We have to focus on the racial wealth gap. The reason that we say that is because it's not because I'm saying that, you know, this is because this is a zero-sum game. I'm like, no. The way this country has historically been has been a zero-sum game.
Yeah, that's right.
And if you actually want to lift everybody, then make sure you have a specific focus on black folks and making sure there's real opportunities that black folks can benefit from.
Yeah. I love that.
Well, we so appreciate you all, and we will definitely see you all inside. Y'all, this is the Governor and First Lady of Maryland, making history and also making change. We so appreciate y'all.
We
appreciate
you
love
all.
In policy and progress. So everything else we do, we have to share it and better educate the message and why we're doing something, because we all have different jobs.
Yeah.
But I was very clear that I can mourn someone's death and not celebrate their life and legacy. And so I think it was clear, because I told my folks back home that, be real clear, I'm a no. I'm a real clear no, and here is why. But other people have other jobs to do in trying to make sure our leadership, you know, I speak truth to power. You know, it was very difficult. We took some hard hits as Democrats. Our leader took hard hits. But we had 3 leaders that made that decision. And too often, it's only the black person that everybody wants to come after when you have shared power. But that's the way it is. But I can tell you, with the Congressional Black Caucus, we have been on point with this conference. It's been one of our best conferences in the minority without the presidency. And we have the vice president coming today. We have Wes Moore that's going to be on the stage. And we have Angela Rod getting the Phoenix Award on the stage.
Yes.
But I say that because those are the kinds of things that the public needs to see, especially now, that we have brought back the thirsty they were for made for this moment.
Yeah.
So we have to engage them, but we have to sit down and have a better dialogue. And that's why I like this podcast.
Thank you.
And I will fight every year, because this is my legacy of making sure that this podcast exists.
Thank you. She's breaking a little bit of news saying Angela's getting the award. So I do want our viewing audience to know that you guys are in for a special treat, because you will be treated to Angela's acceptance speech here before anyone else gets to hear it. So please stay tuned to the end of the show for that. I want to revisit something you said, Congresswoman, because so many of our listeners are deeply
And saying that they are, because I have to tell you, this was the first time I've ever seriously considered registering as an independent. Looking up and seeing a party that appeared, quite frankly, quite feckless, and in some ways almost complicit to the legacy of a person who endangered the lives of black women, who endangered the lives of black men. A man who would say, when I see a black pilot, I have to ask whether or not you're qualified. To fly this plane. The kind of indignity that imbues in society creates it to be a harder stepping stone for all of us, not just some of us.
Let me
but
give
all
you a
of
better
us.
answer than you becoming an independent. I need to have you do more of what you're doing now. We all have a role. And I like to share to people, it is on us, and Angela, you are absolutely right, and Tiffany, that people look to us, and so we have to carry a heavier load. But what you do in allowing us to come and voice ours, we need to be doing more with you. So our plan should be that we should be getting more contracts, more appearances, so we can have more exposure. And that's why I wanted Raina to be here, because I'm going to be hooked to her, and she's going to let me be hooked to her, because we are a team, but people don't know about her skill sets. And being here, you allowing her to be here, makes a difference to your listening audience.
For sure does.
And
can I chime in too?
Please.
Well, and I have a question for you, Raina. I think it is such an interesting time, because to Ms. Beatty's point, the CBC largely stayed together, and I hate to harp so much on the resolution, but I think the resolution represents kind of this larger problem. I said to someone last week, they said, well, where does the party go from here? And I said, the party is shattered. And so I want to know, given your role, in voter participation and engagement, where people are checking out by the droves, particularly folks who look like us, what is the path forward? And how is the Democratic Party made for this moment when only 2 white Democrats voted no on that resolution last week? Jasmine Crockett was brokenhearted about that, made it very clear on air. So I do want to hear, what is the path forward? You're one person, and that party apparatus has been there a long time. I watched it try to destroy Jamie Harrison. I've watched it hurt many of our members. I've watched them disrespect our members over and over again. And I didn't even know we were going to talk about this today. But that's what's on my heart, and I do think it's important to recognize that resolution, which is a nothing burger. They were willing to risk it all on a nothing burger. So what is the path forward for the party?
So I think it's really important to acknowledge that people are feeling away, and rightfully so, but at the same time, we are built for this moment. And at the same time, the work that you're doing, Angela, with going into the communities and reaching out to people, that's what we've got to do more of. You don't, but when the rubber meets the road, we are the best party to do the work of the people. And so that's how we've got to move forward. We can't always start with politics. We have to start with meeting people with where they are and making sure they understand that when they have needs, when they need access to healthcare and education, that we are the people that are going to be there for them. And that's why I said, I've got to chime in and commend you for the work that you're doing with State of the People, because that is essentially the base and the root of how we move forward.
I'm going to come to you right now.
Go ahead.
Speaking of the people, there's a woman who runs a platform that
This is the moment where we all have to get together, because it is going to take a village. It is the mayors, it is the governors, the New Jersey's race, the Virginia race, Westmore in Maryland. It's going to take all of us standing together. So yes, that vote was difficult, and yes, there are people who will always disappoint you, but you can't just look at one body, because at the end of the day, we are a party up and down the ballot, and you've got some really, really amazing people who are doing the work in their communities at the local level, and that's how we're going to do it. We're going to have to all do it together.
Well, let me say this on that, because I think you're right. I don't want to sound naive or defensive. It was a bad vote. It was taken by our community, very upsetting. But I would say that lessons were learned. And what you didn't hear was immediately after, there was a meeting with the civil rights leaders, with journalists, to say, here was my job, right or wrong, but I should have had a better process. And I have learned from this to move on. So my thing is, it didn't turn out the way it should have for Black America, by the way people are responding, but
we would love to know on the you're sort of at the canary in the coal mine. When you start to see Democratic dollars wane off away from their candidates and their infrastructure, folks ought to be in touch with you trying to figure out what's happening and what's happening in that space. I'd love for you to share with us not only a little bit about the platform of ActBlue, but also where are you diagnosing the state of affairs right now as you see money either coming in or not coming in as it relates to candidates who are on your platform?
Excellent. Thank you for the question. Progressives really care about clean energy, climate, et cetera. So we're finding a ton of success. And we are also, in this moment, spending a fair amount of resources to defend ourselves.
Yeah.
And that is not because there's anything that we are guilty of.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when you make a charge against an organization, they have to take the resources to defend themselves, whether they're guilty or not.
That's right.
So we're encouraging the universe of donors that care about the things that we're fighting for to double down. It is actually an act of resistance to keep on giving. And what we're finding is that donors are doing exactly that.
I want to come to you. Thank you so much, Rudy. Also, it's the two mayors sit next to each other, former mayor right here as well. So I want to come to Ilhan Omar, who's been such a champion, such a clear voice since even before where we are right now, like have always been a voice of conviction. When I think of what the CBC represents as the conscience of the Congress, Ilhan, you have done that. You have lived that. You've broken history in your home state. And I know that the battle has not been easy for you. And I know you got to go inside. So my quick question for you is continuing to double back into this theme. When you consider what it means to be made for this moment, true to this conference theme, how are you embodying that, and what would you encourage our audience to do to represent that?
Can I just say real quick, she's a congresswoman from Minnesota.
Oh, I didn't even say that. Yes.
Okay.
I'm just
That's
assuming
okay.
all the things.
And
Thanks, Terry.
part of the squad and a history maker as well. So.
This is what happens when you get interviewed by
Just
your
with your
friends who
friends.
knew
I'm
you
just like,
before
hey, girl,
you became
okay.
a member of Congress. They're just like, Ilhan Omar's here.
Representative.
Horrendous time, right? It was the first Trump administration. My class was supposed to be the antidote to the hate, the vitriol. We were about love. We were about compassion. We were about shaping a narrative that was like what it was to be American, right? We were the most diverse class in the history of Congress. But what I didn't realize was that part of our fortune is that we were joining the Black caucus with, we as Black people do not have survival in this country without democracy, without the ability to voice our opinions through the ballot box. And he said, in this moment, we are also dealing with what it means to be American, and I know you understand that. And so I want you to pace yourself, because this journey of struggle that we have entered is going to be long.
Yeah. Wow. That's so powerful.
And so what I carry with myself since that conversation is that history of people who understood the long arc of struggle. Knowing that ultimately there will be justice, but also that the pendulum will swing back and forth. That even though we might win justice for ourselves in moments, we have to continue to fighting for that, because the retention of that justice, of that progress, requires us to pace ourselves. Because what white supremacists and hate and violence does, it occupies you. It distracts you, it wears you down. And so if
your membership has had quite a week in this week, but leading into this week, some difficult votes that I think you can take pride in the caucus hanging as tight as it was. But as we were saying with some of the members earlier, the burden for you all is
we believed we were on the precipice of breaking that hardest, highest class ceiling to send a woman to the White House.
That's right.
12 months later, that is not the case. Tonight in America, healthcare is on the line. Food service programs are on critical life support. Gerrymandering is on steroids, and a government shutdown is looming.
This administration. The thing that I think is most important is that we can never lose sight of our power. And our power, it is not just a positional power. You don't have to be the leader of an organization. Everybody has power, individual power, and when we bring that collective power together, there's nothing that can stop us. And so what I will say to that woman is that do what you can do from where you are, because whatever it is, as long as it is nothing, it is going to move us towards the liberation that we so desperately need.
But if they do want to join the calls on Sunday, how can they do that?
They can go to www.winwithblackwomen.org. You can go to our bit.ly/WWBW Sunday Call, and you probably could just ask a black woman, and she probably can direct you to us on a Sunday night.
I love this so much. I want to come to you, Nicole. You will be so happy. We have been on message this whole evening about what it means to be made for this moment. We've asked everyone. I've closed my panels this week with that, and I know that this is a theme that's near and dear to your heart. Before you answer that, I also want to take just a moment to thank Jote Kahidi for joining us in this moment. Rachel Nordlinger, the legendary publicist right here, and coming to Melanie Parker, who is also a partner of Native Land Pod and the vice president of Googler Engagement. So we're so happy to have you. We're going to get into HBCUs and all the great things you're doing in just a moment. But first, we're going to come to President Nicole Austin Hillary. Talk about the theme a little bit.
Angela, you know, when we got to this year's theme, my team said, what is going to encapsulate this moment that we're in? And what I said to them is that this ALC is more critical than ever, because we are in challenging times and folks are trying to really ameliorate us. I mean, they are trying to get rid of our community. They're trying to ameliorate us with some of these, you know, new tasks and new policies they're putting out, but we know that's just junk. That is not for us. And we knew that we had to have everyone come together and strategize around how do we move forward as a community and as a people. And this is the nation's largest Black public policy conference. And so we said we have to do something that's going to galvanize our community so that everyone will know they have marching orders and need to come together, talk, and then take the message back to their communities. So that's what Made for This Moment means. And it's also a reminder of our struggle, but also of our history of strength and resilience, so that folks know, yes, we are at a time of challenge, but in our DNA is the strength, the resilience, and the power to move forward and to overcome and to get to even higher heights. That's what Made for This Moment is about.
Yeah.
What I'd be curious to know, obviously there's been a lot of energy around the conference this year, but there's also a lot of despair, as we all know, out in our community. What do you think, if there was a way to give lift, especially coming on the heels of a vote that has been extremely demoralizing for a lot of Black people at every level of our society, what we would tell folks around this fight, when it doesn't look like we're winning, and I think we can level with people that we're not winning, and the stage is set for greater loss, where do they go? Where's the reservoir of tactics that folks can tap into that they can use and exercise at their respective levels?
You know, Joteka said something very interesting that I've actually been saying all week. Sometimes it feels like we're all talking to one another and thinking along the same wavelengths. What I tell people is look to yourself and the community around you, because you have leaders, you have black women who have been working for decades in the good times and the bad times, and they know what strategy is about. They know what it means to, in hard times, coalesce around a movement. They know what it means to make $1 out of 15 cents. That's what we have to do right now. We have to go back to those roots and do it right in our communities. Go to those wise sages. Go to those young people who are brilliant, who are out there right now.
Was, if you guys are regular watchers of the show, you'll know that Angela recommended, we were exchanging book lists, book readings, and Angela recommended Assata Shakur's biography, and I was just heartbroken this week at her passing. Our friend Jelani Cobb, Dean of Columbia Journalism School, noted how she was eternally out of the reach of the people who were trying to destroy her. But she talked about being isolated in prison, and she kept asking, why can't I go and be with the other black women? And she would shout to them through thick metal windows, how y'all do? Thank you for everything you're doing in your role. Melanie Parker, we so appreciate you, and we are part of your extended group chat. You have the support of the Machetes from Far Beyond, so thank you. We appreciate all your support over the years, not just tonight, but over the years.
And
we really
you can
appreciate
support me and Tiff by giving us this dress, because I'm sure Tiff wants this
beautiful
dress.
pink.
It's so pretty.
I know that when she was standing over there, I knew it's all right when she came up. So thank you so much.
Thank you, and congratulations.
A star in DC among the hills. She has not changed at all. People think, you know, sometimes you get on TV and become well known and get a new personality. This has always been who Angela is from the day I met her almost 20 years ago.
Chief of staff to all the
I met her almost 20 years ago.
Chief of staff to all the blacks.
Yes, she has always been the chief of staff to the blacks. She was a
Tiff,
business.
did you make that up? I think you made that up.
Albert Sanders actually made that up, our friend, yes, and he would always say, and she's everybody's emergency contact, because if something happens to me, please call Angela Rye.
Definitely don't call Tiff.
No, I'll respond next week, like, girl, you good?
Are you okay?
But you worked on campaigns, including Andrew Gillum's, has been a business owner, an activist. Impact Strategies was your business, but even before it was a business, it was, I don't know what you guys were, an organization on Capitol Hill? Yeah.
I remember.
First impact leader of the
I
month.
remember, but also what I find really like inspiring about Angela, even as you sit here, I'll say it, is she has always seemed to make time for bringing the next generation of leaders up. Her cohort of young people of all range of ages who are interested in professional development, who are interested in making real impact, have sought her out, and she's always made room for training up the next generation leadership, the folks that you want to replace you. And I think of all the amazing things you do, and there are many, innumerable, I count this among one of the, I think, greatest measures of impact that you have had and are having, and that's in replacing yourself and replacing the rest of us with the next layer of talent.
You're so elegant. And of course, I didn't want to leave out State of the People, what you've done with State of the People. Please, can the Rise join us? I asked, well, somebody grab Mr. and Mrs. Rye, please.
Can you get them, Lola, stay here.
So they can come for her acceptance speech. But I also, this is the professional things that we talked about, Angela, but I just want to say personally, if anyone has ever, if you are in her world and anyone has ever even slightly thought about wronging you, do not tell Angela, because she's going to carry it to her grave.
Yeah.
She will not rock with you if you mess with her people. Yeah. She is always ready to throw some knuckles. So it is just a delight to see her honored. One of the reasons I think she is this powerhouse is because of who raised her. And that is, of course, if you know Angela, you've heard her talk about Papa Rye. who is her hero, her partner, her father, and her beautiful, elegant mother. You can see where she gets her looks from. So nice to see you.
Good to see you.
What's up, Eddie Rod?
And
Paparazzi,
Dad, before
everybody,
you sit
paparazzi.
down, your first job is to help Mommy sit down.
Oh.
I love it. My dad said, "How you doing, Governor?" So this is Dr. Andrea Rye and
Yes.
Eddie Rye Jr. And at this point, we are slightly, we're supposed to be ending right now, but since we started late, I'm gonna reclaim my time. If you can help Mommy sit down, or you guys are gonna stand up? Okay, that's fine. So parents, if you can pay attention for just a moment, Mom, you're on camera. If you can pay attention just for a moment, I think it is worth it because I learned this afternoon that we don't get remarks for the Phoenix Award. So I'm gonna do my speech now that I was gonna do. So I'm gonna just share it here. Good evening. I stand before you as the first former executive director recipient of the CBC Foundation's Phoenix Award. Receiving this award fills me with both gratitude and a renewed sense of purpose, and I will tell you that I wrestled with the fact that it feels unearned and premature. In this moment, I feel like I failed the people because this year I began working to really gather us in earnest, as crisis called. But what I realized amidst this internal struggle is this honor is not the end, it's the beginning. It's an urging to keep going, to keep pushing, and to find higher ground. Thank you to Chairwoman Clark for seeing me and encouraging me to give the best of me to our people. I accept this honor with the full awareness that our story as a people has always been one of resurrection and resilience. This award is not just for me. It belongs to every ancestor who refused to quit, every elder who told the truth, and every young person daring to dream beyond the failures of what America has promised. It belongs to my mom and dad, Dr. Andrea Rye and Eddie Rye Jr., to the members of the Congressional Black Caucus, and to every Black staffer who knows your duty to also serve as the conscience of the Congress. It is for the first responders of the movement, the state of the people, and every partner. It is for every person we fed, hugged, bailed out, heard out, who felt left out. For the mothers of the movement, the Black Wall Street survivors, and everyone who knows Black lives, history, stories, employees, entrepreneurs, scientists, veterans, preachers, teachers, elders, and babies still matter. Tonight is about more than recognition. It is a clarion call for what it means to meet this moment. We are witnessing the dismantling of democracy in real time. Book bans are spreading across our states. Voter suppression targets our communities with new force. The tightening of our economy is harming Black women by the hundreds of thousands. And the cost of eggs are still too damn high. Political violence is unleashed to keep us silent and afraid, and we are being made to believe that congressional honor must be bestowed upon someone who through death is being upheld as a messiah, when we all know the truth about the vicious, violent vitriol he actually spewed. We know what survival mode feels like. We see it in every headline that erases our history, every law that blocks our progress, every threat meant to break our will. But we are not only survivors, we are meant to thrive. The question is how? We will not get there through division or subtraction. We will not move forward by closing our eyes to hatred or shrinking in the face of unprecedented opposition and oppression. So tonight I ask, what will history say about you? What will history say about me? What will it say about us? Will it record our silence, or will it tell a story of a collective rising up? Will it remember you as someone who stood in the gap, or as someone who faded and blended when it mattered the most? History is not written by the comfortable. It is shaped our hustle and our backbone. We will not overcome until we confront division. We will not overcome until we face our fears, speak truth plainly and without apology. We will not overcome until the demands we have of our elected officials are also met when we look in the mirror. We will not overcome until we let courage replace fear. That is our standard. That is our charge. You are called, now more than ever, CBC, to not just be the conscience of the Congress, but even more to be the conscience of our community. Let us move forward together, refusing to shrink, refusing to be silenced, refusing to be divided, because we were made for this moment. Thank you for this great honor. All power to the people. Welcome home, y'all.
Awesome.
Amazing. Welcome home. Y'all, I'm going to say that before I get choked up. So
That's it. That's the closeout. And again, to the Rise, we thank you. You all stay in the hearts and the minds of our listeners as they pray your success and your health in God. So wishing you well. Welcome to the show. And now we got to say goodbye, Dr. Ryan. Mr. Ryan.
All power to the people.
All power to the people. Welcome home, everybody.
You have anything?
Agape love.
Agape love. All right, unconditional love for the people. God bless y'all. We out.
Welcome home.
Oh my God, do you know the months it would take me to write that? Your book is going to be so fire. That was so good. It was so good. That was so beautiful.